Greetings, duelists, and welcome to another deck report. This is week number 8 of season 5, and I went to regionals this past weekend. I also played two local events, so I have quite a little bit to talk about. This is the same deck I played last week, so if you haven't seen that deck profile, I encourage you to check it out. Um, it doesn't have that many views, and it was like one of my most ambitious deck projects that I have done. So uh, I will still talk about the list. I will talk about the changes that I did, but I'm not gonna go super in depth on it because otherwise this would be like a very long video. So I encourage you to check out the previous deck profile and then come back to this one if you haven't yet. I will post it in the description. Um, but yeah, without further ado, um, let's talk a little bit about it. So I played this at two more locals. I finished X1 on both of them. Uh, I also played it at the Puerto Rico regionals. This was this past Sunday on June 8th. And my record on that event was 5-1, which ended me on 20th place. Not a bad record at all. I already have my nationals invite. I have the mat here to prove it. So I wasn't too like bummed or upset or anything about that event. Uh, like the at least the results from it. However, uh, I do want to talk about my losses because I won only two die rolls in my 8 rounds. And that is a very big deal this format if you're playing a deck like this one because you're not gonna open that many defensive cards as opposed to other lists. And if you get paired against like very strong decks, you will probably lose game one. So I was already at a big disadvantage. I played against a lot of powerhouses. Like I played against Fiend's Memento, which full comboed me on game one. I played against a Jubel player that full comboed me on game one. I played against a Maliss player who full comboed me on game one. Like a lot of those stuff happened, and I didn't do like a single charmy or stuff like that to stop them. And that is a really big deal. Uh, so my first loss was on round one. Shouts to Abraham Rivera, like really good player. Uh, it was the Malice mirror. Um, he like I said, I lost every die roll except for 2 rounds, so I lost the die roll against him. And my hand was really good for breaking boards, but he specifically made the Wicked Bomber board. And Cyber's Wicked is a really strong card because it makes it so you cannot destroy it or whatever it's pointing to. That it's a Cyber's monster, which means he can trigger his bomber like 5 times without any issues. And my deck was not strong enough to beat 5 bomber pushes. Um, I did play cards that counter the bomber, but again, I just didn't drew them, and that took the game one. Game two, they opened 2 more charmies against me, but not only that, they also played Ashed, Impermed, Impulsed, Nibiru'd me on that game as well. Um, Even through all of that, I still managed to end on Ramson and Mirror, which was sort of enough because they didn't open any Malice starters. However, they did open triple tactic talents, which I pretty much played into it. with my only interruptions that I had on the board. And yeah, that was enough to win them the game. Uh, my second loss was against the Yubel player. Like, losing the die roll against Yubel is very unfortunate when your hand has 3 bricks. Um, so I lost game 1. In game 2, I bricked with 4 1-ofs. Like, I opened GWC06. This card was glued to my hand the entire event. I think I drew it on 9 games. I'm not even exaggerating. It was so ridiculous how many times I opened this card, which is kind of unfortunate because I am playing 60 cards. I should not be opening this card that much, but that's Yugi. Yeah, my hand was that. It was a Mitsurugi mirror. It was Futsu. We had these 3. We had 1 Dominus Impulse. I had to return the impulses that I borrowed. And the last card was... I think it was a March here. I'm not sure. No. The last card was... I remember now. It was also on 1-of. It was Ogdoadic Water Lily. So this was my hand. This was my 5-card hand going first against Yubel. I pretty much went Water Lily. It resolved. I dumped Murakumo. I used the mirror to bring back Murakumo, tributing the Futsu. I used Futsu's effect to add Habakiri, and I got rolled. So I ended up setting the 06 and the Impulse, just because by setting Impulse it means I don't get locked out of my Ogdoadics if I want to go through that line the next turn. And they open Feather Duster, so these 2 are gone. And I'm left with a Murakumo and a Harakiri. That was my round 5 against Yubel. Very unfortunate. My tie was against Memento. Again, I lost that die roll. Again. They full comboed me. They made the full Memento board. However, I broke through that board and I won that game. My hand to combat that was I think my hand was, let's see if I can find it. I opened Snake Rain. I opened Triple Tactic Thrust. Those are 2 cards I remember opening. I opened Malice in Underground. I opened... I think I opened 07. And there was one other card that I opened that was kind of good. I think it was Wosu. And for turn, I drew... Marsh here, which I am also lending, so yeah, just pretend this is Marsh here. So this was my hand, and I did use this hand to break that board. It was a lot of interruptions. I think it was like 7 interruptions, and I played through all of them. And at the end, that game one lasted 32 minutes. Uh, Game two, my opponent just did a Gave Dragon, and the match ended on a tie. I wasn't upset at the Memento player at all, but he did make a lot of misplays. Like he did like 5 to 6 plays that were just not real plays, and I had to call him out on them. I didn't call the judge. I didn't like forced a game loss or anything, but um, uh, I feel scammed out of that draw with the Memento player. But you know that's neither here nor there. Um, I played against two Blue Eyes. I beat them both 2-0. I played against Rizio Fiendsmith. It was a really good game three. We both opened talents. I made him go first, and I think I had a very good Ash Blossom to stop like one of his key plays. He talents looked at my hand, which was talent thrust. Um, I can show you the hand. Let me move these cards out of the way. So I think the hand was I did have a talent. I had Murakumo in hand. I opened Thrust. So Thrust talents Murakumo. The Ash that I used. And the last card was a Prayers. He looked at my hand, he saw my cards, he put Prayers back into my deck. And for turn, I drew Mitsurugi Ritual. So, and he ended on Detonator with 4 materials. So I activated the Mitsurugi Ritual. He already knows I have Murakumo in my hand. And that's pretty much checkmate, because no matter what he does, he pretty much loses the game. Like, he has no way to stop the ritual from summoning to the field. The materials from the Mitsu ritual are just going to generate me enough card advantage to keep playing. And if he uses the detonator to just defend on his turn, I can punish him with talents and thrust. So yeah, that was that game. Really good, really strong game three. I faced against Eldritch Horus, Fiendsmith, which I did win. It went to game three. They lanced me, and I opened Snake Rain. And if you saw the Snake Rain combo from my last week's videos, I pretty much resolved the Snake Rain combo game 1 and game 3. Game 1 was full combo, full board, including the Maliss cards. Game 3, I ended on 3 Mitsurugi names in rotation. They Nibiru'd me after I went through all Mitsu names, but I already had a Prayers in hand. Like, I already had a Prayers and a Purification, and they had to play through those with just their 3-card hand. Which was not easy. And I have a lot of follow-up with my Ogdoadic cards. So yeah, those were my rounds. I did play the Maliss Mirror match again on round 6. No, on round 7. It was on round 7. Round 7. No, round 6 was the Maliss Mirror, which I 2-0'd. Round 7 was the second Blue Eyes, which went to game 3. I also beat him. And round 8 was the Eldritch player, which Snake Rain won game 3. So yeah, that's it for my deck report involving the regionals. Changes that I did to the deck. So I'll show you the changes. Again, I'm not gonna go through the whole deck. You have last week's deck report for that. I made Perulia, Fualos, and Drool the three, basically the trifecta of the format. We're pretty much in a format where people are just gonna be sacking you left and right, so you have to play as many sacky cards as possible. Like in this format, it doesn't mean that you can win. You cannot win if you don't have them. It just means that your win rate is gonna be slightly better if you do have them. So, I chose to play these cards. I moved Ash and the Impulse to the side deck. So, like Ash is in my side deck, and Impulse was in my side deck. Um, I pretty much took the approach of the one of the players that topped the French nationals, uh, because low impact hand traps are not that good this format, including Impulse. Impulse is the best low impact hand trap that we have, but it's still a low impact hand trap. Uh, in this format, if you don't play high impact hand traps, or at least pair the low impact with the high impact cards, you are probably gonna get blown out. There are just way too many strong interactions that just forces too many cards in this particular format. Which is why I also cited Nibiru. I cited Nibiru alongside Ash and Impulse. I just wanted to make sure that post game one, my Charmies and Drolls were paired with other really good cards. And Regional is full of Rogue. Like, again, I faced a Yubel player on round 5, so that tells you enough. Um, so I don't regret playing these cards, especially in the side deck. I think that is more than fine. Another card I moved to the side deck, supposed from the main deck, was Called by the Grave. I don't regret this choice at all either. This is basically for after game one, because you already know people are gonna silence you on you, even if even if Maliss is not the full focus of the deck. Every post game one, I just cited out like 60% of my Maliss cards. Um, that way, I don't get fully blown out by those anti Malice cards if by opening a full Malice hand. Uh, Unfortunately, it did happen on my round one, which is why I lost on round one. Like, again, I got Fualos Meowst and I had a full Malice hand, and I think I opened a full Malice hand another occasion, but Lancia was not involved, so at least that didn't matter. Um, Fair Duster is staple in the side deck. Um, One card I tested in the side deck, I only drew it once, but it won me the game the one time I drew it. It was against Mitsurugi this past week. I played Metaltronus. Another thing to Metaltronus is I am playing Detonator in my extra deck. I cut access code for Detonator. I just felt like access code was not really that needed. The card was pretty much win more. If you get to a point where you're trying to use access code to break the board, you're pretty much already winning that game anyway. I did not miss access code the entire event. I don't think there was any game where access code would have made the difference. So I don't regret that choice. If I were to keep playing this deck, I would keep Metaltronus. I will keep Detonator. Most likely. But yeah. Other side of cards that I played, I took this idea from French nationals. The mouse player that did made top 8. I played Barrier and Simul Archfiends. Again, you just really need those really high impact cards when after game 1. This is really really strong against the Maliss mirror match, as well as pure Mitsu and like Raizio. This card that destroys Life Twins. Like Life Twins cannot play through this card, um, which is really really good. Um, and I don't think I need to explain Dimensional Barrier. Uh, like everybody already knows about this card. Would I play these two again? I never drew them, and I never drew Thrust to set them, and I never played against a relevant match where this was necessary. I did side these. I did side this against Ubel, but again, I opened up 4 1 of hand, which is less than 7%. It is what it is. So that was my sideboard. Other things that I did, I cut grass from my main deck. I tested grass, and there was one game where I milled 19 cards, another game where I milled 23 cards, and the one game, fun fact, I milled all 3 prayers. I milled all 3 prayers with grass, and I had no way to get to Kusanagi, so I pretty much lost all my prayers for that duel. I think I still won the match. I still won that game though. But again, that was very annoying. And I just reached the conclusion that as good as grass is, there are probably better cards. So I did play 3 copies of Thrust. If you saw my list from last week, you already know I was playing 2 copies. So I bumped it to 3, which yeah, it worked out. I drew into Thrust a lot. Like this card was really really good for me. I think moving forward, if I am playing heavy combo decks, I will main this card. Because if you go second, you just add blowouts. If you go first, you just set appropriate cards that are just right for the situation. In this deck, you're mainly setting either a Malice Trap or the Purification, which is not really a big deal. Like these are the 2 main culprits that you're setting on game 1, which is again pretty fine. But yeah, those were the really big changes. Oh yeah, there is another big change. I lowered backup to 1 copy. Uh, if you do the full Snake Rain combo, or if you resolve your Ogdoadic cards, you're gonna get to backup anyway. I didn't want to be in a position where I just open multiple backups, or I just open backup and no other playable cards. I did draw backup plus hand trap a lot, and that was more than okay. I pretty much won 2 duels by just making Almirage with the hand trap and just full comboing from there. So that did happen. I didn't miss the other copies of backup at Ignister, so that worked out for me. Yeah, those were my big changes. We can go through the extra deck real quick. Already brought up Detonator. So there's this. Upgraded for the quarter, finally. Dark, Splash, IP, SP, Blizzard, the 3 Malice Queens. Another addition to the extra deck was Echo Talker at Ignister. I just wanted an inboard piece that I can finish with my combo lines. From what I've heard in the regionals, apparently almost nobody resolved this card at the regionals. Apparently I was like the only player that managed to summon this card and resolve its effect like over 4 times. Which is very funny to me in listening to like other players not resolving this card, because I am playing a 60 card list. I'm not playing a typical Malice deck. Fun fact, I did make Ally Kotaker 1 game without the Malice cards. I just had way too many bodies, and I had like three XYZ. I mean, like three Link monsters on board, alongside the Mitsurugi cards, and I just took one of them and made Allied Kotalker with it. Um, because this is generic, you can summon this with any 3+ monsters. Um, it did not bring back any 23s. However, yeah, I did have an IP. I did have an IP underneath. Uh, and I think I had an IP, and I had um, the Dark Charmer. I summoned the Dark Charmer as well. So yeah, it worked out. There were no other funny games outside of like the Memento one and the Raizio Mitsu. I mean the Raizio Fiendsmith one. Everything else was pretty much as normal as you can expect. Um, yeah. Uh, so plans for next week. Before I talk about my plans for next week, I should talk about another card that I cut. I did cut Meowls from my side deck. So my issue with Meowls, like I sided Meowls for 3 tournaments, and it never came up. It only came up once against Blue Eyes. I drew both copies, and the cards I drew into with these cards were not good enough to beat Blue Eyes. After that, I just cut this card, and I just told myself I don't think I need it, and I didn't. I played against 2 Blue Eyes at the regional, and I beat them. I beat them both. So it is what it is. Now for plans this week. Battles of Legends is coming out this next week, so you're probably gonna see old friends coming back into my decks. Um, for those who don't know, there are 3 decks that come out in that set that I am interested in revisiting. Punk, Dragon Maid, and the Gem Knights are the main three. So be on the lookout for that. Until next time, uh, I hope you found this informative to your liking and understanding. Uh, keep practicing and keep dueling.